So my experiment is continuing until I find out a thing, invention. It's purely objective, but nonetheless, I have evidence, or I had evidence. That's the problem. Maybe 3 years ago, I experimented with something. Okay, I was using a wireless laptop, and I was beginning my search in my laboratory, and we were conducting these objective experiments that take many years. And something happened. Something weird happened. Now, this wasn't a hacker or anything, but something weird happened, man. So there was like this scene from Dumbo where there's crows, and they're talking to the mouse, and I had put like some kind of frequency to sort of like change the rhythm or the nature of its like the meaning behind the scene. I was changing the whole anatomy or like the the scene. But like I was like looking at it, and something happened. I've done this various times to the same scene, and then it got interfered with. Like I don't know, man. It was weird. It wasn't the website, I can tell you that. It was like this this weird thing. So the crows, like there was this part where the crows were like, they were laughing, and I was looking at that scene where they were laughing, and then something happened, man. It was like a glitch. And so I'm doing my experiments and I'm figuring out the information, the formula. So according to a simulation hypothesis and a parallel reality, if this were to happen, the characters or the signal being sent would be a part of a simulation signal or something like that. That they know that there's something going on with the with the scene, with the characters. This is called like what actors say, breaking the fourth wall. Like, when the actors start to interact with the audience. Now, that happened to me in a cartoon that I was looking at. And so this is like straight up Looney Tunes, I'm telling you, man. Like Looney Tunes. And it was weird because I couldn't figure it out, but it happened again. And then some other stuff started happening. And what I was told is that the glitch was coming from from that very same thing from the scene. There was like a specific glitch of some sort that happened that was referring to the characters breaking the fourth wall. But the thing is that these are not actors, and neither is this a live performance. It was a pre-recorded scene. And I came in contact with something that was not human or of this earth. And and like ever since that moment, I had several glitches happen with the films and information, and I had to trace it back to its origin and make sure it wasn't like a CIA cover up or like a CIA sort of weird stuff. And it wasn't because I proved that it wasn't. What it was is something different. And like I was looking at it, and they said, this has to do, in order for a parallel reality or a cartoon world to send a signal of that kind, they would need to do something very different. Something would have to open a portal for them to send a signal like that. And so like it kept happening, but like ever since then, I kept looking into this information, and I'm wondering about it, because a lot of stuff gets stolen out there, like information and stuff, like but like as I was saying, the idea is that like I have a photographic memory and I remember stuff, but like it's like I have to explain that my experiments have something to do with that world, and yet I manage only to bring about some sort of signal, but not an artifact. A signal that, this is where my experiment gets a little weird. Because you watch a film, and sometimes, you got the CIA making films about people as part of a covert harassment thing. That, or you got a real signal, such as a film that's being sent to people as a signal, or to a specific individual, and those things, as I came in contact with it, there are some things that have been made that were used as part of a, to send a message, but not like humans to people, more like these parallel realities sending signals through a simulation of some sort. And now, one of the things that I had to track the origins of the source, I have to figure out, if the actors know what they're doing, or if the actors are even aware that they're part of a psychological operation, or maybe that they are not aware that they are part of a covert signal transmission that's being sent to individuals or an individual. And whenever it's the second one, the covert signal transmission is they are unaware of what's going on to the people. They're watching what's going on, they're unaware. And they are either they're playing as actors or they're playing as, characters and etc. Just all the whole mechanics of a cartoon or a play or something like that, And but today, as we are realizing this thing, we are becoming aware that many films are covert signal transmissions from a parallel reality, and they are simulations. That's the hypothesis, that the signals are very much, they're either directed at a person or at individuals. Now, we can't really come in contact with that reality where the signal is being sent. But as I said, as I was trying to explain here, that if we did, one of the things that would happen is that, we would realize that there was sort of like a Truman Show going on here with the world. That something like that, but that it wasn't being covered by the government or any human being, rather than somebody doing something outside of the outside of the government or any individual on planet Earth. Now, if a film does exist, and this is my idea, is the only way I can become certain of this artifact that's being sent by some individual out there in space, in another planet, is that the film is the only artifact. If there truly exists a film that is been untampered with by the CIA and is a legit source of a signal using real actors unaware of what they are doing through their acting, that they are unaware that they are being manipulated to cast this information. And that's the thing I'm trying to explain here, is whatever's causing that to happen, the artifact would be the film, and it would be not of this world. It would be of this world using basic physics, but it would not, the signal would not be of this world. It would be of somewhere else, a different origin. That would be the closest thing to Artifact 1 that I say. Artifact 1 would be something of a film that is not human, referring to its communication. And I came to several films, several scenes, several things that I've seen, and I know that there are some things that are not human out there that have been recorded and put out there for people to look at. And And the only way is that we know that it's not human is that the signal is that the character or the thing within the film is actually talking to the people rather than acting as part of a play or a narrative, that it's actually communicating. And the line blurs within that scope. The line blurs between the reality that's being presented and the reality that exists. So this is a dimensional shift, a paradigm shift between a simulation and the world, a signal. And so like I'm still looking for an artifact, and my apprentice is very much on the verge of helping, but the thing is, what we got is clues, folks, clues that must be untampered by the CIA, that must not be correlated to any government or anything that's trying to show off any propaganda of any sort. Rather, that it is a film that is actually occurring as a actual event, as a signal transmission. So that's what I'm trying to explain here, folks, is that once we get to the point where we might discover something very strange about our world, that we are in some form, to some degree, in the Truman Show. And when we find the door, and we start to remember we start to remember, start opening these gateways, then we'll find out something very strange, very abnormal. There will be something in the origin of it all that would not make sense to any individual. It might be a mural, a door that it doesn't open, or something very strange, something very surreal that might prove that we are living in some kind of Truman Show, folks. This is Artifact 2 that I'm describing. If we can find Artifact 2 or Artifact 1, Artifact 1 is easier to find, but Artifact 2 is somewhere out there in the midst, and we continue our investigation.